before we started the old Outlaws show, I did a Bonanza. And there was an old guy, not an old guy, he was a young man. He was a nervous actor.
Don Knotts was in a Bonanza. I had no idea. Hi, I'm Rob Word. Welcome to A Word on Westerns. Today we have a terrific show for you. We have Don Collier. When I watch a show called The Outlaws, Thursday nights at 7:30 on NBC, this is the guy who I said can handle himself. He looks good. He can handle a gun. He can do the shootouts. He was a deputy. But the cool thing about that show was that it's like Law and Order, Criminal Intent, because it was about the bad guys. And then Marshal Barton MacLane would assign Don to go out and get him. And he did. He is our guest today. Don, welcome to the show.
Goodbye. Thank you, Robert. Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here, and I want to apologize for the way I'm dressed. I thought this was just going to be a recording. I didn't know you were going to have cameras. I said, Walter Scott looks like $1 million down there. I look like a bum. And here I am like this. I can't wear boots anymore. I got to wear these.
They're Range Rider moccasins, okay? Just call them that.
They're moccasins, Indian moccasins is what they are.
So The Outlaws was really different at the time because all the other shows were about a hero and you followed the hero. We were following the bad guys.
It was the bad guys. It was a pretty good old show. It was a little, well, they were all kind of corny in those days, but we did the best we could with what we had. Walter was just a kid then, 20 years old, I think, 19 or something. And we had a lot of the old actors that I was a teenager during the 40s and 50s, and I'd seen a lot of these old actors at the movies and stuff, and now here I am on a TV show, and here come these folks through my show. And what a treat that was to see some of those old character actors that I admired and watched all those years in the 40s and early 50s, and here they were. I'm working with them. Well,
Barton MacLane was a regular that first season with you. He'd done all those Warner Brothers Bogart movies. What was he like?
Barton was great, tough old guy. He was the lead heavy over there at Warner's for years, and he came to work for us as the governor, and he got most of the money.
He got fired though, and you stayed on the second season.
Well, he didn't want to come back for the second season, so they made me. I was a deputy the first year. Second year, I was the marshal. Mm-hmm. And they brought in old Slim Pickens.
Yeah.
And you guys remember Slim?
Sure, yeah.
Man, what a guy. You remember Slim, Walter. Slim was great. And he had a unique way of using the dialogue. He'd look at it and get an idea what it was supposed to convey, and he'd use his own words. And it never would come out the same. But he always made his point. Uh-huh. So after a while, they just forgot about trying to get the dialogue word for word. You say, Slim, you got and he'd just go blah, 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 and print, Me, I'd have to go back and do it 3 or 4 times to get it right. But Slim was great.
Well, he had been a rodeo clown before he became Rex Allen's sidekick, and just the camera loved him. He was a natural, but what a great writer he was, too.
He was a great clown. In fact, we went up to the Salinas Rodeo one year. We were the grand marshals up there, and Slim used to clown and take the bulls off the cowboys with his cape. And we're sitting there after we got introduced. We did our little act and everything. We're sitting there in the stands watching the bull riders. Slim's sitting there like this. He got his cape with him. I don't know why he brought the cape, but he's watching the bull riders, and he just jumped around there. And we're right here and the arena's right there, and pretty soon he just jumped over the damn fence. He'd throw me my cape. I threw it down there, and he ran out there, and he's getting those bulls off those guys, having a ball. Loved it. Got hit a couple of times. Slim was terrific. He was a good guy to work with.
Well, you mentioned the older actors who were involved in that show, but what was interesting, looking back at them now, is the group of young people that were coming up who guest starred in them. I know Jack Lord and Warren Oates and Robert Culp, all these terrific actors were guest stars and bad guys in your show.
Yeah. who was the guy on Star Trek?
William Shatner.
Bill Shatner, yeah, he did 2 of our shows back in those days. Shatner couldn't ride very well, but he was game for anything. And we had a shot one day where me and Slim got the bad guys with guns on them. We're holding them for this sheriff coming in from out of town, and the camera's on top of a building, and it's going to catch the sheriff is Bill Shatner. And the camera's going to catch Bill riding in from this end of the street all the way up where we are over here with the bad guys. And the camera's up high, and the director says, now, Bill, he says, come on in fast. He says, you want this bad guy they've got. You want to get him real quick. So the camera's up there. Me and Slim are down there with the bad guys. And he says, action. And here come old Bill. I mean, he's balls out across there, just giving it all he could do, you know. And he got pretty close to it. He's still going fast. And he throws his foot off, and his other foot got hung up, and he landed on the ground like this, and he's sliding, and as he slid, he pulled out his gun, and he got up where he says, okay, I'll take him from here, boys. He was a game. We had to do it again, you know. But
Yeah. Well, since that time, he's gotten into horses, and he rides all the time now.
I think so, yeah. I haven't seen him since that day, but
He's put on some weight.
he got a little chubby. Yeah, he got a little chubby on us.
Yeah, he went into space. He's had quite the
He did
career.
real good, yeah.
But he does love horses, and he's put together a couple of events here for charity that.
I think he's got a big ranch back east somewhere today.
I know he used to have one down the street here,
Right out here.
but I don't know about
Yeah.
back east. You know, another guy who was in the Outlaws, who became an Oscar winner, big star, Cliff Robertson, and
Cliff
he
Robertson.
got his directing card on an episode that he wrote on the Outlaws.
It was a 2-part show. Yeah.
Could you tell when these guys were coming in there that they just had some sort of extra little something?
Not really.
Well, I guess being dragged down the
know,
street
we-
on a horse doesn't give away much.
We were all young guys, you know, and if you're the lead on a show, you get kind of, you know, you think you're hot stuff. And, but they're all great guys. Bob Lansing, remember Bob Lansing? Mm-hmm. He was a good actor.
Yeah.
Oh, Bob, and he did card tricks, and he dazzled the card. They were those phony decks you could do a lot with. I know now. Back then, wow, he's great.
Did he take your money?
No money was involved. He wouldn't do that. He wasn't dishonest. In fact, Bob Lansing, we were doing a HIGH CHAPARRAL one time, and Bob Lansing was our guest star. And he got all done, but now we'd heard he's going to stay an extra day or two. And so we get out to work the next day, and it's a big scene out there at the ranch. And Bobby Hoy, who played my brother on the thing, we didn't even look at the script. You don't even bother the script. If you got any dialogue next day, you just say, you're mounted and you're over there, okay. And we got horseback, and there's a bunch of us out there. And these guys had gone through all this whole rehearsal scene hid somewhere quiet. Bobby and I didn't know what the hell was going on. And we're sitting there with this weird background stuff. So, we hadn't bothered to look at the script or nothing. We're just almost asleep. And Bob Lansing is talking to old Leif Erikson. And he's saying, I'm going down to Yuma. And he says, I need somebody down there for a marshal. And old Leif says, well, we got just the guy for you. And Bob says, who's that? And he says, well, it's Sam, my foreman. I heard about it, because we hadn't read enough about it. Sam, I went, Yuma? What does he mean he's taking me to Yuma? Am I off the show or what? And they went through this whole thing. And when they said cut, they all looked at me, and I was just afraid I was going to lose my job. And they all laughed like hell. And Bob had stayed 2 extra days so they could pull that gag. Yeah. They thought it was funny.
Well, that was such a great show, HIGH CHAPARRAL. I had lunch with David Dortort one time, and he says, Rob, I liked HIGH CHAPARRAL more than Bonanza.
Yeah.
You know, it was on location.
Most people did.
Oh, it's
Right, Scott?
It's so great because you're on location. Bonanza, they'd be having a stock shot, and they'd ride right into that backdrop. And on HIGH CHAPARRAL, you're out there in Arizona, Apache land.
Yeah. I did 5 Bonanzas, most of them right there on that sound stage. Yeah. We did do, before we started the old Outlaws show, I did a Bonanza. And there was an old guy, not an old guy, he was a young man. He was a nervous actor.
Don Knotts was in a Bonanza. I had no idea.
He was damn near like that. He was always like that. And we were about 6 soldiers, and we're going across the desert. We keep running into these poison water holes, and the sergeant said, "Don't drink that water. It might be poison." You know, we're all just. And this old kid, he says, he just jumps in the water. He's supposed to jump in there, and he's going to die. He jumps in there, and the sergeant's saying, "Don't jump in there and drink that water." And he comes out, and so he starts to die. And boy, he's flopping around like this, he's going all over, just, you know, and he won't die. He's getting as much film as he can. And finally, the director says, "For Christ's sake, will you die?"
Hi, I'm Rob Word. Thanks for watching A Word on Westerns. Each week we post a new episode, and all you have to do is subscribe right here. Click on this, you won't miss a one. Adios.